Hello and welcome to Chabot News for May 9, 2024. My name is Diana Osaulenko and today we will be covering a farmer who caught bird flu, a buried body found in Hayward and a panda coming to San Diego Zoo. In entertainment news, Evan will tell you about all new Doctor Who. And finally, in sports news, India has the latest updates on the WNBA. All that and more coming up in today's edition of Chabot News. A U.S. dairy farmer who caught bird flu appears to be the first known instance of mammal-to-human transmission of the virus. The worker reported no contact with sick or dead birds, but he did have repeated close contact with dairy cows in Texas, where there were infected herds. That's according to a letter on the case published in the New England Journal of Medicine. The man was treated with antiviral medication and never became seriously ill. Still, his case is shedding new light on bird flu. It confirms humans can get the virus after contact with cows. At the same time, it illustrates how hard it will be to track an outbreak like this, where a positive test could mean a farmer loses days of work and pay. There have already been rumors of dairy workers who are sick but don't want to be tested. Law enforcement authorities say they have cleared the pro-Palestinian encampment at the University of California, Los Angeles. Early Thursday morning, police entered the encampment they deemed unlawful. You can see some officers pulling apart barricades. As they were moving in, shouts could be heard from inside the encampment, saying, "Hold the line, hold the line." Rubber bullets were fired into the crowd as police penetrated the encampment. Once cleared, protesters gathered at the perimeter of where the camp used to be. A wall of officers calmly stood between them and the former encampment. Dozens of detained protesters have been taken by bus to a staging area about a mile away. The encampment at the UCLA is among the most recent in a series of active protesters occurring at universities across the country. We sent our reporter Alan Sampson to ask Chabot students their thoughts on the protest.
I am not surprised, and I think during these difficult times, for countries that have in war, it is important to show support.
People protest for what's really going on, so that's how I feel.
I think that it's kind of counterproductive because it defeats the purpose of what they're fighting for. They're trying to fight for justice, and violence is not going to help them get what they want to stop the war.
Both sides are going through just as much within the violence of the protesters.
All the overheads, all the faculty, they need to kind of get the students together, and they need to figure out a way of how they can support the students.
Set, go.
I haven't really been following them, to be honest, so I know sort of what they're about, but at the same time I don't really know what actually is happening.
I think it's this is such a difficult topic, but I do support people's right to expression and freedom of speech. So I think what they're doing is good.
I know it's nationwide for sure.
Thanks, Alan. Now we go to Evan Neto for this week's look at entertainment news.
Thanks, Diana. The longtime show Doctor Who is back with an all-new Doctor at the control of the TARDIS. The show has been on air in one form or another since 1963. Rick Damigella reports.
Ruby, you want to know my secret? I have the whole universe at my fingertips. And I'm all on my own. I'd love it if you came with me.
Who are you?
I'm the Doctor.
The time traveler known as the Doctor is back in an all-new season of Doctor Who.
What if I change history by stepping on a butterfly?
Well, that's not going to happen, is it?
Oh, what's wrong?
Ncuti Gatwa was shocked when he learned he would portray the 15th iteration of the Doctor.
Agent called me just before I was about to go into barbershop. She asked me if I could keep a secret. I was like, there's no way she's about to say what she's about to say. She was like, you're the next Doctor. And then I had to put it out of my mind because it was too big a concept for me to handle.
Millie Gibson plays the Doctor's new traveling companion.
When I watched it, I would never have thought of myself as that person to represent that role. So yeah, that's definitely crazy. I just hope people like it, and I hope I've filled the shoes of previous companions.
With all my adventures, never seen anything like this before.
Oh my, Bridgerton!
Showrunner Russell T. Davies offers this partial preview of the new season.
We're kind of taken the wheels off and pushed it downhill and see how fast it can fly. And it's enormous fun. There's an episode called Space Babies. We got the Doctor meeting the Beatles. We go back to 1963 for the recording of their very first album. We go back to 1813 and have a Bridgerton episode in which the Doctor and his companion keep on saying, oh my God, we're in Bridgerton. We've got an enormous, great big two-part finale at the end, which starts in present-day London but ends up encompassing practically all of time and space. It's a huge, huge adventure. So that's not bad. How about that? Do you fancy coming?
Everything is possible. Ready to hop in the TARDIS in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damigella.
Thanks, Rick. Doctor Who premieres May 10th on Disney+. Star Trek told us space was the final frontier, but the final destination of the show's original Starship Enterprise model was unknown for decades, after the miniature that made the whole show possible mysteriously went missing. Jeremy Roth has a Deep Space Cold Case update for us in today's Take a Look at This.
An iconic relic made famous in the original Star Trek TV series has at long last made the voyage home after boldly going missing for decades. This 3-foot model of the Starship Enterprise was the original one used in the famous sci-fi show's opening credits and its 1965 pilot episode. However, in the 1970s, the model inexplicably went missing. Fast forward to 2024, when Heritage Auctions says they were contacted by someone claiming to have found the marooned miniature reportedly in a Beverly Hills storage unit. The auction house was able to authenticate the model and arrange its safe return to Gene Roddenberry Jr., son of the show's famous creator, who says he remembers seeing the model on his father's desk as a child. Now back where it belongs, hopefully this priceless relic will continue to live long and prosper. And from the good news to the bad. A bizarre viral tourist attraction known as the Chicago Rat Hole is no more. This quiet Chi-Town sidewalk became a hot spot to trot after a rat seemingly met wet cement and made quite an impression, literally giving the city rat splat fever and a new viral claim to fame. But recently the city reportedly removed the infamous section of concrete, possibly as part of a greater sidewalk replacement initiative. It's a bummer, but before you say, "You dirty rats," just know the city claims to have preserve the impression and may find a new home for it in the future. At least, that's the word on the street. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Thanks, Jeremy. The original Star Trek series ran from 1966 to 1969. That's all for this week in entertainment news. I'm Evan Netto. Now, back to you, Diana.
Did you know there was a Veterans Resource Center right here on campus? On the second floor in building 2300, our news reporter Jasmine Bester has exclusive insight. Let's take a look.
Welcome to the Veterans Resource Center, a safe space for military-connected people. The VRC provides their student veterans computers to work on, study tables, as well as a lounge area.
Veterans need all our support, as much support as we can give them, so they can be successful once they leave the military, once they've left the military.
The Veterans Resource Center has an information desk and free school supplies to further support their student veterans. Free tutoring is offered on Mondays from 12 to 1 p.m. The many services the VRC offers allows military-connected people to be in an environment that supports their needs.
So providing them a safe space to come and feel comfortable is critical for them to be successful in their classes and really be successful in their life.
The Veterans Resource Center has been held in high honor for many years and still is to this very day. I'm Jasmine Bester. Now back to the studio.
Thanks, Jasmine. For those interested in participating in the Veterans Resource Center orientation, it's held in the beginning of fall semester. The orientation is occasionally held during spring semester, depending on how many new veterans are enrolling, and there are no orientations held in the summer. We now go to Hamza Bouja for this week's Top 5.
Thanks, Diana. Well, the spring semester is almost over, and I'm sure many of you are planning vacation trips for the summer. To help you out, here are the top 5 things not to say at airport security. Number 5, so you're one of those underpaid, undertrained slackers I've read about. Number 4, hi, if the security officer is named Jack. Number 3, just a little lower to the left with that wand. Yup, right there. Number 2, I'm not taking off my belt without at least a dinner and a movie. And the number one thing not to say at airport security, this x-ray machine just shows up guns and knives, not drugs, right? Remember, as a general rule, airport security agents have absolutely no sense of humor. You will be in cuffs before you can say, I was kidding. In fact, it's a federal offense to joke about weapons. You may, and I quote, be subject to prosecution for violations of federal criminal statutes and subject to civil penalties up to $10,000 for each violation of federal aviation regulations. So do yourself a favor and play it straight at TSA checkpoints. My name is Hamza Bouja, and this has been this week's Top 5 list. Now back to you, Diana.
Thanks, Hamza. A man's dead body was found buried in Hayward after his alleged murderer shot him to death several days prior, the Hayward Police Department reports. The suspect, Andres Sanchez, 38, from Hayward has since been arrested. The victim has not yet been identified. A shooting occurred early morning on April 26 near San Antonio and Heyman Streets in Hayward. Witnesses saw two men arguing before one grabbed a gun and fired. Despite believing the victim was killed, no one called 911 until April 28. Police arrived but found no one there. Further investigation identified Sanchez as a suspect, and he fled on ATV before barricading himself in a garage. After hours of negotiations, Sanchez surrendered. Later, police found a man's body with gunshot wounds concealed nearby. Sanchez was arrested for warrants, felony, evasion, robbery, and murder. This is an ongoing investigation. Anyone with information is asked to contact Detective Sinka at 510-293-7176. This is Hayward's fourth homicide of 2024, HPD said. Crime is a big issue here in the Bay Area. Our reporter Christian Gonzalez investigated if crime here has been increased in the past few years.
In recent years, it seems as if news reports about crime have gotten more common here in the Bay Area. Almost every other story is about some robbery, a string of car break-ins, or a general increase in theft. Has crime really increased in the Bay Area, or is it simply that those are the news stories that stick out most in our minds? According to the nonprofit group, the Public Policy Institute of California, the data varies statewide. However, the Bay Area has seen an increase in retail-related crimes such as shoplifting.
The data indicate a rise in shoplifting, especially in the Bay Area, and a broader rise in commercial burglary among urban counties. Of the 15 largest counties by population, San Mateo and San Francisco had the highest rates in 2022, and rates in these counties increased by 53% and 24% respectively compared to 2019.
According to SFGate, car theft has also increased with a jump from 6,222 motor vehicle thefts in 2022 to 6,571 thefts in 2023. This increase in crime across the Bay Area has led many large businesses to shut down locations, including Target, In-N-Out, and Whole Foods. I also asked some students here at Chabot if they feel crime has gotten worse in recent years.
Definitely. There's been a lot of car break-ins, a lot of burglaries, and it's happened to me too. Someone broke into my car actually 3 weeks ago.
Definitely. Not an insane amount because it has always been prevalent, but it definitely has increased, I would say, over the past few years.
In response to this, Governor Gavin Newsom has worked with local police departments to combat crime. According to a press release from Newsom's office, 474 people have been arrested and 160,000 stolen items have been recovered from 185 investigations by the CHP's Organized Retail Crime Task Force since January of this year. Hopefully, this is a sign for good things to come, not only for those here in the Bay Area, but across California as well. I'm Christian Gonzalez for Chabot TV.
Thanks, Christian. Hopefully, things improve in the near future. Chabot New Gladiator Hub recently celebrated its opening with an event. To get a better understanding of what it was, we sent our reporter Evan Netta out to cover the celebration.
Chabot's bookstore sat unused for more or less a year, but the widely used building, which shut down after pricing issues with Barnes & Noble, has been given new life. Because on April 22nd, Chabot College officially welcomed the new Student Hub. Housed in the 3800 building, the same building the bookstore was in, the Student Hub is intended to serve multiple roles. Students can buy food and school supplies there, as well as just hang out or study. To get a better understanding of exactly what the Student Hub provides, I spoke with Dr. Salim Gilmore, one of the architects of its inception.
So this is, hopefully the goal is for it to be a one-stop spot for students. And so the fresh market where students can shop for free, both grab-and-go food as well as food to take home and cook. We also have our coffee bar. Students can come in, make oatmeal, get some yogurt, granola, coffee, just to get their day going. We also have what we call the Gladiator Lounge. So at this point, we have 2 kind of living room setups and 1 dining room setup. We have an area for students to study. We're waiting for ITS to bring us the desktop so students can have computer access. And we're also going to be able to, students will be able to reserve the space. This will probably be the only space that is specifically for students to reserve for club meetings, events, things like that.
The Student Hub did not open without fanfare. To celebrate its establishment, Dr. Gilmore and other staff members hosted an event from 12 to 1 the day after it opened. Students who went were able to enjoy free food and desserts.
This week is the first week that we've opened up the whole space, including our resource desk, our study lounge, our Gladiator Lounge for students to hang out, our coffee bar. And so this is our open house today. We're providing food for students and faculty and staff to come and see what we have to offer.
Since the Student Hub is now open, you can stop by and take advantage of what it offers whenever you'd like.
Thanks, Evan. Now we turn to India Richardson for this week's look at sports news.
The Indianapolis Star columnist who had a cringe-worthy exchange with Caitlin Clark at her Fever introductory news conference last month has reportedly been suspended over the bizarre encounter. Longtime journalist Bob Kravitz, who used to work for the Star, said the outlet hit Greg Doyle with a 2-week ban in the days following his strange April 17th interaction with the WNBA player. Kravitz did not specify when exactly the punishment began for the reporter, although he has noted Doyle's last Star piece, a Colts-related article, was published on April 29th. Kravitz added that Doyle is expected to return from the ban on May 13th. We reached out to Doyle for comment and the report, and received an instant automated reply message stating, "Hey there, getting tired here, so taking some time off and won't be checking email. If I can be of service when I return on May 13th. The message continued, "Please let me know then." According to Kravitz, Doyle, who's been writing for the Indy Star for years, is not slated to attend any Fever games this summer in the wake of the Clark saga, although he will continue to write columns off the team by watching TV from his home. Doyle, who went viral for sending a heart hand gesture to Clark at the Newser before following it up with some borderline inappropriate comments, previously issued a mea culpa for his actions in the hours after the incident. He stated he was sincerely sorry for his oafish behavior, adding he was just wrong. Caitlin Clark, he said, "I'm so sorry." For Clark's part, she never addressed the matter publicly and appeared to move on from it right away, handling the rest of the news conference without any sort of issue. The sudden curiosity in women's basketball did not come without controversy. The sudden rise of the women's game has led to some unflattering conversations in some media circles. The NCAA women's basketball officially has more attention than it ever has before, a massive win for the sport that less than 3 years ago was a subject of a gender equality review due to obvious gaps in treatment between the men's and women's divisions. Yet with all the positive strides comes the negative, media press. LSU's Angel Reese has already expressed how difficult it's been for her to face all the criticisms alongside her teammate Haley Van Lith being subject to trolls and memes all throughout their game against Caitlin Clark and Iowa. But another narrative that was pushed after last year's championship game was the race factor. Reese and Clark were pitted against each other, and the former was billed to be the aggressor. Race has been a storyline in sports rivalries throughout the history. Famously, in the 1980s, when Magic Johnson and Larry Bird went from college basketball stars to the faces of the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics, respectively, Clark and Reese, both of whom have already declared for the 2024 WNBA draft after Reese's announcement today, seem to be headed in the same direction. The two have squashed any assumptions of a feud, and reports are that they have shown each other a lot of grace throughout the pressure of carrying the torch for the sport. But while they were pitted against each other, the two NBA Hall of Famers have ended up becoming great friends. Reese has even publicly congratulated Clark for breaking records and becoming NCAA's Division I all-time leading scorer among men's and women's basketball. Clark's career points total surpassed a 54-year mark set by another revolutionary player and former LSU star Pistol Pete Maravich, who finished with 3,667 points. It was a week for this record books. That's all for this week's In Sports News. I'm India Richardson. Now back to you.
Last week, I went to cover the sound bath and healing event, and Chabot College provided an immersive experience for our viewers. Welcome to Chabot College Mental Health Month event, Sound Bath and Song Healing. Prepare to unwind, distress, and cultivate inner peace in this soothing and therapeutic experience. Let's embark on this journey together to explore the transformative power of sound and song in nurturing our mental well-being. Spiritual relaxation event where every detail is curated to nurture your mind, body, and spirit. Comfy sitting, aromatic candles, and delicious snacks. Participants unwind amidst soothing atmosphere.
I started to incorporate singing bowls. Singing bowls resonate a frequency that allows people to open up their hearts and really just connect back to their bodies. Sound bowl is related to the chakra, which is why they're color-coded. And so it's very powerful medicine that I have been using to be in community, heal community, and also heal myself.
The healing journey starts with opening up, sharing your thoughts and problems. Here, Brittany is there to provide perfect support, guiding you through every step with compassion and understanding. Next comes a powerful process of writing affirmations, which are then transformed into soul-stirring songs. These melodies of empowerment emerge from the threads of personal struggles and aspirations.
Our voices are powerful. So if I'm singing your affirmation, yeah, it's going to be powerful. But if you sing your affirmation, you are literally telling your DNA and your body, like, hey, this is what we're doing. I am powerful. I am strong. I am beautiful.
Also, Brittany offers tools to address specific issues. For example, she provides techniques to alleviate sleep problems by gently touching parts of the body. Today's experience planted seeds of healing that will continue to grow, ensuring lasting peace and well-being.
I think I just wanted to have some time to meditate and to kind of feel my feelings and, probably heal from them.
So I decided to come here with my friend to just relax before the assignment, and I'm expecting to listen to some relaxing sounds because it is a sound bath from what I heard.
This is Diana Osaulenko reporting from Chabot College. It was a good event for the students of Chabot College. Walmart is boosting its grocery department with a new private food brand. They're launching Better Goods, which is a retailer's biggest launch of its kind in 2 decades. Company officials say they've got 300 items under that brand. Better Goods promises an elevated experience of chef-inspired food and an incredible value. The new private label products include dairy, drinks, pasta, chocolate, and coffee. Most of the products cost under $5, with none of them above $15. The Bentonville, Arkansas-based business employs roughly 2.1 million associates across the globe. The Chabot College Theater Department recently performed Into the Twilight Zone. We sent our reporter India Richardson out to report on campus.
I went over to the Chabot Theater Department to see the play version of The Twilight Zone.
I just personally am into The Twilight Zone.
I grew up with it. There used to be a lot of reruns on, it was a network, a TV network called the Sci-Fi Network. The main thing I'd like for my audience to take from watching this play is just to have a good time and be entertained, because I love how Twilight Zone comments on society, but also does it in a way that makes you think and also keeps you entertained. So that's my goal for this show, is that people are entertained, they had a good time, and it made them think.
The director Dee Dee Steffens was inspired by her favorite childhood show, The Twilight Zone, a TV show that played on the Sci-Fi Network. She would watch the marathon with her sister every Christmas as tradition.
In terms of this play, I think it's a lot different because it's devised, so it's like we kind of made up everything on the spot. Like first day of like rehearsals, we had nothing, so it's like we made up everything. We made up the script, we made up the movement and everything. So it's like a lot different, but it was like really fun to just be in like creative space, as you know, always, and diving into your character, you know. So
Backstage, the theater students get creative when they put together their own costumes and looks for each show. They work together to make sure each character's look was original and made unique. The theater students are extremely passionate about what they do, and they have such great high energy before, during, and even after a performance.
So have fun, because we had fun making it, and welcome to the show. Thank you.
And I'm aware, and you're holding us in this prison for no reason.
The bad bitch refused me. Watch my power. Oh, I turned you into a doll. Dance Can 6 dance. In the universe. Now get out of my way.
That's 4 words. We just need one more word.
What? Were you doing more stuff for me? Run away from me. Where is Moses? I mean, Cat 6.
Hey, girl.
Oh.
You know, I would never run from you. Why don't you chill with me for a bit?
Okay.
Come here, have a seat.
This time you head back to Mississippi.
Dixie Creed in the flesh. What the hell?
You fail, like I know you will, then you have to buy me drinks for a whole month before you take your ass back to Mississippi.
All right, bet.
Ooh! Gotcha! Bet. Oh my God. It's Game of Thrones all over again. Khaleesi got the unsullied, and I got the unfunny.
That's funny.
Can we give it up for our director?
There were a series of stories acted out, each one having a different message to take away from them. The Twilight Zone was funny, quirky, and enlightening. The theater department put on a great show, and it was a great experience. I'm India Richardson. Now back to you.
Thanks, India. That was a great performance. If you drive all the time and would like to know about some hacks for your vehicle, here is a segment called The Professional Driver. Our reporter Alan Sampson that will keep you up to speed with all the latest driver hacks.
Attention drivers! What is the best method to adjust your side mirrors on your vehicle? Well, before we get into that, we asked some college students about where they kept their side mirrors at.
Well, it's an interesting question. And, you know, talking about girls, as girls, let's just picture that we are in a movie scene, you know, and what we care about, it's, let's imagine that paparazzi running to catch our stunning reflections in those side mirrors, and voila, you're just ready, you know, to hit the road in a style.
Shoo, I don't even use mine. They're in a locked safe and they're gonna stay there forever. I mean, everything's crazy these days. People are breaking into cars. If someone steals my mirrors, it's over for me.
Side mirror? I don't have side mirrors because someone took them when my car grew legs.
That's a rather personal question.
It's 10 and 11, right? No, 10 and 2.
Those were some awesome answers there. Let's get into our driver hack now. First, make sure your seat is adjusted to your driving preferences. We will check our driver's door side mirror first. To properly adjust, align the front door handle in the lower right corner of the driver's side mirror. Repeat this process on the passenger door side. Adjusting your front passenger door handle to the lower left corner of the passenger's side mirror. This should maximize your vision with your side mirrors.
Thank you so much for telling me this. I'll definitely tell my other girls.
Oh, I see. So they're supposed to be on the car all the time.
Oh, okay, I have to think about that one. Thank you. It's all good.
All right. I haven't driven in a long time.
Remember to drive safely, and please be courteous. This is our segment, The Professional Driver. I am Alan Sampson reporting for Chabot TV.
Thank you for those useful tips, Alan. It's in the books. China has signed an agreement to send 2 giant pandas to San Diego Zoo. The goal is to start a 10-year international giant panda conservation cooperation, according to China's National Forestry and Grasslands Administration. The 2 pandas, male and female, will be sent to the U.S. accompanied by Chinese expert breeders and veterinarians. The Chinese organization says that the zoo is renovating and upgrading the enclosures to create a larger living space for them. In February, it was announced that China would be sending 2 giant pandas to the San Diego Zoo, marking the first time it had granted new panda loans in the U.S. in 2 decades. That's all for Chabot News this week. Thanks to all the students and staff in the Mass Communication Department here at Chabot College for making this production possible. You can watch us anytime online at youtube.com/ChabotTV. Stay tuned to KCTA Channel 27 on Comcast for more Chabot TV.